Hey everybody, welcome to GGS Railways. My name is Greg. This is my YouTube channel. Tonight we're going to talk about a Marx. I believe it's a 999. It's missing its number board. That sounds familiar to another project we did very recently, but I do believe it's a Marx 999. In any case, when we give it power, it is very, very sluggish, so we're going to do a little bit of repairs. We take it apart, see what we can find. So this is the guy we're talking about right here. And as you can see, when I give it full power, it is just barely creeping, and that is full throttle. So yeah, this guy needs a little help, and we're going to give it to him. My initial guess is that carbon has gotten in between some of our plates on the armature. That's my guess. We'll see here in a minute. It won't take but a second to get it apart and take a look. So let's get it on the table and let's take a look. Okay, so here we have the locomotive in all its glory. Once again, I do believe this is a 999. Now, I could be mistaken on that, and feel free to correct me in the comments if you know better. Notice it's got the kind of the cellophane looking tinted windows. That's probably some sort of clue. Now, I do, to the best of my memory, believe that this used to say 999. But you know, as you get older, your memory sometimes does not work as well, but I do believe it did say 999, and I looked at pictures of a 999 and it looks pretty doggone similar to me. So anyway, in any case, we're going to get started. Regardless of what it is, I think we can repair it, and I think it'll go pretty well. So let's get started. Okay, so if you've seen me do any of these Marx before, you know it always starts the same way. On these steam engines, it's just got two screws on the front of the locomotive here that when you take them out, the whole chassis should drop out, which you may not can see as I was fighting with the screwdriver. So, all right, so I'm going to take this out. There's one, and on the other side there will be one identical. Or should be identical. Sometimes they're not identical. So, all right, just like that, we're off. We are off to a good start. All right, there we go. And there's the inside for those of you that like seeing such things. The number board may actually be in here now that I'm thinking about it. I'm looking, I don't see it. So I do believe it was on there when we got it, so maybe it's laying around in the train room or on a shelf, or I don't know. In any case, maybe we'll try to figure that out. But for right this moment, let's see why this guy is so hesitant to run well for us. So I'm going to start. I'm going to clean up this pickup. Oh, look at my finger. That's a clue. Okay, so you may recall a few videos ago, if you watched a few videos ago, talking about what happens when you lubricate your locomotive in the wrong spot. I believe that's maybe what we're looking at here. So I'm going to get my fiberglass pencil out first. I'm going to clean this pickup off, but I suspect the problem is going to be inside. So it doesn't take much on these. Fortunately, these Marx pickups are quite large, so I mean it's pretty easy to clean them up, not tiny. So that looks pretty good. I'll get this side. So that's looking pretty good. All right, so here we go with this. Now, most of the time, what I do on these is I'll get the screw out and then I'll kind of crank this down to where this bar is at its lowest. And most of the time this pickup plate will just come out. But we got to get the screw out first. Maybe you couldn't see that because of my finger. Apologize if that's the case. So we'll just take the screw out. And this is the brush plate that we're removing if you guys aren't familiar with what this is. The brush plate is a non-conductive, it's a fiber type material. I'm not sure exactly what it's made of. So, I do recall that once upon a time that I found that my nut driver set did not have the proper size for this, and I just remembered that. So I may take a trip to the other room to get a proper nut driver for this, because yes, it does look like that may be the case. All right, be right back. Okay, so I went and got some handy dandy pliers of the small variety. I'm just going to take and twist these off. They shouldn't ever be on there terribly snug, because once again, this is a fiber plate and it will crack, it will break. They are somewhat abundant, but why break it if you don't have to? Okay, so like I said before, usually what I do is I just crank this down. It'll probably make more sense this time, until this is at the lowest possible level, which is right there. And then usually you can just gently pry up on this brush plate, and it should come off. It's being a little of a pain, probably just because I have people that watching on the camera. That generally complicates things somehow. All right, we have this open, and do you see the do you see the spots of lubrication? Yeah, that's why you don't lubricate just everywhere, just the points that need to be lubricated. So, all right, these little guys here, in case you don't know, are the brushes, and they actually look pretty nice. They look good, other than really dirty. Our armature here is pretty much filthy. This is going to be our problem, I can pretty much assure you. These little Marx motors are pretty simple, so there's not a lot until they really are worn out to go really wrong with them. So one of the other things that I found while I was in the other room is I found some of this. I'm gonna make sure that you can see it. Yes, you can. This is good to clean this. Now you need to be really careful that if you're like really fast at reassembling some of this stuff, that you don't give it power before this stuff dries, because it is extremely flammable and it will make quite a nice little fire, little flash fire. Don't ask me how I know that. So all right, I'm just gonna take it, I'm gonna clean this plate up, get that oil off there, get everything back to looking nice. Now I'm gonna take it, I'm gonna do the same on the armature, and then we'll go back with the fiberglass pencil, and we'll just finish polishing it up. So all right, so it should come off. Mainly what I'm trying to do with this contact cleaner is not necessarily clean it as much as get that oil off of there. The fiberglass pencil will work better if there's not oil that is trying to combat to get things clean. So all right, so far that's looking pretty good. I do apologize if for a moment there I got it off the camera. I'm trying to be cognizant of that. So all right, do you see how this is discolored? That really should not look like that. So we're going to take, I'm going to hold it with one finger, which may preclude you from seeing just a little bit. And I'm just going to rub this guy real good. Now, my original musing, and I still think I'm partially right, is that carbon will build up in these little slots between the brushes. And when that happens, the performance will drop off drastically, because what it's doing is it's taking power that should just go to one plate at a time, and it's just kind of distributing it all the way around. And as it gets dirtier and dirtier, it just gets worse and worse, and finally, it just won't work at all. So I'm taking, get the face clean, and then we'll go and we'll do in between, like I just said. But I don't know if you can see it, but it's getting a lot shinier, a lot nicer, real quick. Like, these fiberglass pencils are a really good investment if you're gonna mess with these little motors at all. So yeah, do you see how that's just, I mean, wow, that's really fast. Just most awesome thing ever. So all right. So I'm not gonna say it, because when I say it, it never goes that way. I'll say it later. So far so good, I'll say that. How about that? So all right. It will surprise the heck out of me if this doesn't work just a whole lot better. All right. Got that pretty doggone clean. Pretty nice looking, I think. Nice and shiny. So, all right. Get my hands a little clean. Or a little cleaner, I guess I'll say. So, on other videos, let me once again make sure that you can see it. Yes, you can. I call these, and I know they have a different name, but I call these brush tunnels, and you want to make sure that these get nice and clean as well. Where it works well for that is a Q-tip. What you need to be careful of, though, is that there's a spring in here. You don't really want to get your Q-tip hung up on the spring if you can help it, because that makes for the fibers in there, and it just generally doesn't make things very happy. So you see all the black that came out of there? Pretty good, pretty good. All right, once again, don't lubricate your stuff in places that don't need lubrication. Doesn't help anything. And I've said this on other videos, but I'll say it again. Some of these lubricants, like WD-40 and stuff like that, it'll seem like it makes it work better. And initially it may, because it does. WD-40 isn't actually kind of an oil, but it's more of a cleaner. It's a solvent. Now it does lubricate, but before that lubricant can actually dry and make things better, what it'll do is it'll collect a bunch of grime and dust and yuck, and yeah, what you wind up is with something that makes your hands look something like this. So don't want that yuck. All right, so then on the brushes, I just kind of clean them up the same way, paying special attention to, well, the whole brush, but especially both ends of the brush, because that's where your contacts happens, from the plate and then to the armature. I don't know if you can see it or not, but it's got a nice black edge on that one. That's needs to be cleaned. We'll go back with the fiberglass pencil here in a second. When you're working with these little motors like this, oftentimes you'll have one of the brushes will have a slot. I don't know if you can see it going up and down here. You always want to put that out, not up against your armature. That's a retainer to keep the brush from spinning, and what it does is it hooks into the spring, this little spring right here. Don't know if you can see it or not, but hopefully, and it keeps it from spinning. And it's pretty clever. It works pretty well, unless you put it in backwards. And also, and I've never had experience with this, but in theory, if you put it in backwards, it could really screw up your armature. It could scar it. So you don't really want that either. So you see what I'm talking about on the black? See, that's, you know, that's really not how this should be. All right, so let's get started with this fiberglass pencil on this one end. And I think that ought to clean it pretty nicely. I don't know how well it will show on the camera, but it is cleaning it quite nicely. All right, there's one. I don't know if you can see or not, but it's kind of nice and shiny now. So here's this one, and remember I don't know once again if you can see it or not, but it's got kind of a black spot. I'm going to try to get that off. So now, you know, this isn't on like your modern model trains, although I guess to some degree it probably still applies. But anytime on these older ones, when you start getting performance issues, most of the time they just need to be cleaned. I mean, there are other things, of course, but most of the time, unless somebody has really, really neglected them, it's just a good cleaning. All right. So that's pretty clean. That's pretty good. Try to get my hands a little cleaner, maybe. All right. So that's really all there is to cleaning that. We'll clean up the wheels and where the wheels here in a second. But first, we're going to put this brush plate back together. It's good not to have too many things trying to go on at once. Sometimes when you try to clean one thing, it makes another thing, well, not clean anymore. Okay guys, so let's get this pickup plate back in here. So what I usually do is I'll take the brush and I'll stick it back in like it goes. That kind of raises that spring. Can you see how it raises the spring? And what I do is I take my screwdriver and I simply move my spring to where it is on the other, like that, on the other side of the, well, I call it a tunnel. What that does is then you can go ahead and put your brush plate in place. Get it on there, like so, and press it on there. Once again, when you do these nuts, you don't want to get them too tight, because once again, this pickup plate is some sort of fiber product, and it will crack, and it will break. It's not a huge deal to replace it, but once again, if you don't have to, why would you want to? So right now I'm just going to finger tighten these. I'll come down to our buddy here, the one on the bottom. So if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the locomotive that once upon a time the screw fell out of the fell out of this bottom, and it made it not function very well. Could be wrong on that. All right. Just put this, oh, I guess I gotta have the right screwdriver here, right bit. All right, so we just take it and put the screw in here, screw it on in, make sure it's not, oops, kind of cattywampus. There we go, that's pretty good. All right, so when you tighten that screw, it's got a metal base, so you don't have to worry quite as much about tightening it too much. You want to get a little snug on that because it does have a tendency to back out. So all right, so as you can see, my tunnels are open. We can see our nice clean armature. What we're going to do is we're just going to stick our brushes in here, once again with the slotted end up, and then we will spring those springs back in place, and we should be good to go on that part. So all right, let's see. I'm going to put the other bit back in. Hopefully my hand is not in the way. So all right, so we're just going to take the spring and put it back in the tunnel. We are ready to go on that one. Same story over here. Just spring it up and over. If you really want to do it right, make sure it's in this little slot. There we go. So that looks good. All right, so that part's all done. So now, last but not least, I'm going to clean up these wheels, because as you can probably see, they are pretty much filthy. And your ground for these Marx locomotives does come from the wheels, so you want to make sure they're nice and clean. So all right, one of the places that gets really filthy on these is right here. See the axle, and maybe not on this one in particular, but some of your later ones, there's actually another pickup that goes against here that picks up your negative. So if you have a newer one that runs poorly, it could be that is dirty. So I'm not sure exactly if I should use a Q-tip. Wow, look at that. Ugh. Oh my goodness. Well, ew. My. Well, you know, I think it may not run any, but I'm sure gonna feel a lot better about it. My goodness. It's been a while since I got one that was quite this nasty. So back in the olden days, they always had these ads that showed, you know, trains running on carpets, and don't do that. A lot of times what this is carpet fibers. So if you like carpet fibers in your trains, then go ahead. Otherwise, I might refrain from that. Of course, you know, maybe modern day carpets are different, or, you know, I don't know. Just something that I've seen. So I'm going to take and clean this up. Boy, this is really pretty nasty. Generally speaking, when I get these, I clean these really good. And I know I've said that before, but so when I see something like this, it's a little puzzling to me. All right. Although I have bought quite a few, it would be easy to overlook one. All right. Trying to get all this garbage out of here. Yeah, that is something else, guys. Anybody remember Chia Pets? That's what that's what this reminds me of. It's not growing. Need like needle nose fingers. All right. Well, there's the part of the video I hadn't planned on. So, all right. There's one end. It looks pretty good. I think you'll agree it looks much, much better. It's not easy to get the other end, but fortunately it looks like it's pretty clean. Now what doesn't look clean is this brush plate right here, the actual fiber part. So I'm going to take a Q-tip here and try to get some of that out too. There's just no reason to have lubrication to draw the yuck into your trains. Oh my gosh. Wow. This is really disgusting. Alright, well, just got one more end here. My goodness. This is something else. Alright, so now all we have left to do is clean the wheels. Now fortunately, or unfortunately, however it is, there's plenty of lubrication to go around everywhere else. So we don't think we need to worry about that. Definitely not an issue of things not wanting to turn. It's just an issue of yuck. All right, let's get these wheels cleaned up here. Once again, we can use the fiberglass pencil on these, but kind of want to get all the oil and stuff off first. It just makes it a lot easier. See all that came off of that? All right. So a little bit of caution about using this contact cleaner. You want to be careful when you're doing it like on your kitchen table because it may take off finishes and so forth. I'm being very careful, and I'm not speaking from experience, but I suspect that is a definite possibility. So if you don't want to get in trouble with your significant other, you may want to do it in a garage like a normal person instead of on your kitchen table. Yeah. So some kind of exciting news on that front while we're doing this. This weekend we are going to start with the first piece of drywall on the space that we're doing for the trains. So that's exciting. We are making progress ever so slowly. The Houston heat hampered us quite a bit, but I think we're ready to move ahead on that a little bit. So, okay, I think we're down to the part where we're just going to use the fiberglass pencil, do the final cleanup on these guys. And I suspect that we're going to put it together, and it's going to be a lot happier. So, all right. How shiny those wheels are getting. Wow, that's nice. All right. All right, one more. All right, so because I'm just here, I'm going to give it another little quick jab here on the actual pickup plate, just because we exposed so much yuck. Some of that may have gotten on there. All right, that looks pretty good. I suspect this is going to work a lot better. Time will tell. So okay, let's put this little, or I guess it's not little, but this body back on. Like I said, there doesn't seem to be any kind of issue with lack of lubrication. If anything, just the opposite. So all right, let's get this guy in here. Let's see. Been a little bit of a pain for some reason. There we go. All right, and we got one screw on this side. Once again, I have the wrong, no I don't. I say I had the wrong bit in there, but I don't. I'm good, I'm good, I'm good. There's one side. And I think I've told you in other videos, but maybe you've not seen those videos, you don't want to tighten these up just totally right away, because this guy may need to move one way or another, forwards or back, and sometimes if you tighten them too tight, that becomes not possible. So, all right. Yeah, that looks pretty good, I think. So I'm seeing something here that's making me question something. So this one screw is short, and then this screw is longer to the point that it's hitting the rod here. Most people would just edit this part out, but this one is short like the other, which means that it goes on the front. It does not go here. It does not go on this plate. So let's see if I can get this guy out. Got him out? Yep, that is the case. So this likely would have come back out. All right, most people would not show you that they messed it up. I'm not most people. All right, that looks and feels better. Perfect. All right, let's get this guy back together. All right. Once again, same advice. Don't tighten either one of them just totally. And generally speaking, with some degree of difference on difficulty, you will be able to get these in pretty easily. Let's see here. All right. I think we got that lined up good. We do. If my screwdriver would stop trying to gash me, it would be helpful. So, I usually have a bigger screwdriver, but a lot of our stuff is packed right now in anticipation of moving the train stuff. All right, so we're all back together. We're gonna put it on the track, and you and I will see for ourselves if we're successful or if it needs to come back to this table and figure out something else. But I suspect we're gonna be successful. Okay, everybody, I have what I believe to be the Marx 999 here on the track. And basically the same spot it was before, and we'll see if our efforts did any good or if we need to go back to the drawing board and try something else. I'm fairly confident that this will be successful, but I haven't tried it yet because I like to try things together so you guys can experience both the failures as well as the successes. I think that's kind of part of it. We don't want to give anybody kind of a false illusion of how this all works, because maybe you're doing it yourself someday. You never know. All right, I've said enough. Let's try it. Well, yes. Okay, so I need to watch the speed. It's so quick that it came right off the track. All right, so based on that, I'm going to get some train cars together. We're going to put an actual real train behind there because it actually needs that when it works correctly to keep it on the track, and I'll be right back. Okay guys, I got the Marx, I believe it to be the 999 once again on the track here. I got some cars behind it. I'm not sure if these are the correct cars, but in any case they're going to run. They're going to be fine, I think. So let's see if it acts a little bit better with the train cars behind it. Usually they do. I suspect it will be good. Much better. Yes, yes, yes. Okay, so I think I'm going to get some cars behind the, I believe that's the Grand Trunk Railroad set over there by Lionel, and run them together for the interesting ground shots here in a minute, and go from there. In the meantime, what I can do, I believe, if I can figure out which one it is, I can run the fire diesel. How about that? Kind of nice, kind of cool. Actually, I can run the Grand Trunk, but just in cars. Let's try that. Pretty cool. So we'll get some cars behind this Grand Trunk before we go to the ground shot that everybody likes, and that should add some visual interest. All right, I'm going to get this set up, and I'll be right back. All right, everybody, who's ready for some multiple trains running from the aerial view? First, we're going to start the start of the show, which would be the what I believe to be the Marx 999. I'm pretty certain that that's what it is. So let's start it up. Now watch it. I'll start. That'd be funny. There it goes. All right, that's pretty good. I don't want to let it go too fast because, as we saw earlier, it will come off the track. It's a really beautiful locomotive. It's got the, I don't know if you can see it, but it's got the green, looks like green indicators on the front. Maybe when we drop it to the ground you can see it better. All right, so I think that one's about right. So let's start with the American Flyer to kind of give it a little bit of spice, a little accent. Just notice that these are going the same direction, but that's okay. Generally for the videos, I like to make them go different directions because it makes it for a really cool video. But you know what? That's okay. Because we got this Grand Trunk over here that's just raring to go. I believe I put the right cars on the Grand Trunk. I wouldn't swear to that, but I believe it did. All right, so I'm going to let these guys run around just a few laps, and we'll drop you to the ground, which seems to be what everybody likes. I'm going to be quiet and kind of monitor the speed here for a minute. All right, everybody, I think we got everything stabilized and about ready for our ground shot video, so let's do it. has been the repair of the Marx 999, although frankly it was more of a cleaning than it was a repair. It was just filthy, nasty, however you want to put it. He actually runs pretty well. I don't actually even remember exactly when I got him, but apparently he must have slipped by our initial inspection because we generally keep him a lot cleaner than he was. So I'm going to stop everybody else but him so we can just kind of focus and give the attention on him just for a moment here. There we go with that. And I'm going to try to slow him down a little bit, although these Marks are not terribly easy to regulate the speed sometimes. They kind of want to just either go fast or stop. But since this guy is pretty clean, he probably will cooperate with that a little bit. Alright, so that looks pretty good. Alright guys, well, we've come to the part of the video where if you like the video, you should give it a thumbs up. We appreciate that. We like it. It lets us know what you like, what you hate, what you don't want to see again. And otherwise, we don't have any idea. We just kind of do what we want to do, which frankly is kind of what we do anyway. But you know, it's nice to know what people like. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you, thank you, thank you. We could not do this without you. You guys are the very, very best. We appreciate your comments, your camaraderie, your friendship. Once again, you guys are just the best. Seriously, we could not do this without you. All right, guys. Well, I think this is about it for tonight. The repair went pretty well. Once again, I don't think it was actually as much repair as it was just cleaning, but I guess that counts as repair maybe. So, all right, guys. Until next time, GGS Railways out.